Dr. Sharbendu Banerjee. He works for CABI, and as you know, CABI is the world's leading agriculture information producer, but largely meant for scientists and researchers. But today, Sharbendu is going to talk about how you can use that information to reach out to farmers. Please.
Respected Chair and the distinguished Assembly, very warm and good afternoon. Before I start, I would like to just express my thanks and share with you that many of you may not know that CABI and Professor Swaminathan and his foundation has a very long and old relationship. Professor Swaminathan has been our chairman in our executive council, and he had introduced a lot of key changes in CABI as an organization, and I am really feeling very much honored to speak in this foundation today in front of very senior practitioners and professionals like you. My topic today, as you can see, is about the quality of content, because as you may have noticed yesterday and today also many distinguished speakers spoke about content and content delivery. So it's a very, very big and complex landscape, and I just want to zoom myself in just one aspect very thoroughly and don't want to touch other aspects, because otherwise it itself is a session in itself. I mean, you can spend weeks on discussing on these topics. So I will just focus myself with the quality aspect, which I think is very critical. Like any other product, information is another intangible product, and quality is ultimately the thick factor which makes whether the product is going to survive or not survive in short, medium, long term. But when it comes about content, very few people actually look quality management or quality assurance of content in the way we look at quality assurance of a ball bearing or a quality assurance of a medicine in pharmaceutical industry. So in CABI we have started doing this activity, and I will just try to briefly talk about it. My objective is not to provide many answers, because a lot of the answers are still not been arrived, but I am sure it will fuel a lot of sparks and provide you with a lot of food for thoughts, and which might come up with new ideas and new strategies and will benefit all. So delivering high quality content, a critical success factor for agro advisories. Before I start, I will just briefly introduce you about CABI. CABI is actually earlier used to be called at Commonwealth Agriculture Bureau, and we started in 1910 by the Royal of British Kingdom that time. We are a not-for-profit intergovernmental organization, and we are owned by 45 member countries. So unlike any organization which is owned by the shareholders, we are owned by the different governments, and not only Commonwealth country governments, but countries which are outside the Commonwealth as well. And we are global leader in the intermediary services, communication of agriculture research for development, scientific publishing and agriculture development. Even a lot of people who are here and have been from agriculture background must have consulted our abstract intergovernmental organizations. We work with them, a lot of banks and research organizations as well. And at a later stage in my presentation, I will explain why these partnerships, alliances and linkages are very critical. So transforming global knowledge into local insights is the ultimate dream of anybody who is into these intermediary or content delivery services. We have global knowledge and we want to transfer it and deliver to the person as a local insight. And if it happens, then it can transform into a big development goal achievement or a big business case, whichever you want to take. And you can see this woman is from Tamil Nadu itself, from a place called Theni, and she is a part of an NGO called VDL, and she is pretty old, but an active listener of the messages. So in this particular case, some of the global knowledge has been really transformed into local insights, which keep this old lady listening to the messages. But in most of the other cases, this is exactly what happens when we talk about the knowledge landscape in agriculture. As you can see in the bottom right hand side, there is a poor farmer who is looking at a huge maze of interconnected blobs. Now these could be different agencies, institutions, governments, NGOs, telephone operators, this and that. I have not named them because there are so many. They are connected, not connected, interconnected, but to a farmer in the bottom right hand side, it does not make any sense. Completely amused. And this is what happens for the farmer's perspective. If we go to the farmer's perspective, this is the entire knowledge landscape looks like this to us. Why? Because there are a few bottlenecks. And incidentally, I mean, for the ICT practitioners, they may take it not so lightly. The I, C and T, these are the three bottlenecks which I have come to conclusions. Information, first point of ICT, it itself is a bottleneck. Information is held by dispersed and diverse entities. There are information with academia, business, service providers, farmers, progressive farmers, governments. They are all diverse. They have different constitutions, different objectives, different mandate, and information is held by each of them. So there is no standard. There is no standard of information. You can't say this information is better than that unless you have some benchmark to evaluate that. And that benchmark is not there. So if the information is not there, there is no benchmark. So there is a problem of congruity and authenticity, and which is a big bottleneck which most of the practitioners of mobile for development or ICT for development must have experienced, that at the end of the day people says, okay, but I really don't trust you. I mean, these are all big, 30,000 feet above the ground level kind of stuff. It's not relevant. It's not localized. You don't understand my need. Because we can't really say which information is good, which information is bad, which is not so good. I should not say bad, not so good. Then communication. Communication is another bottleneck. If I say Y, W, Y, S, I, N, W, Y, G, those people who are not into the computer science background, they will not be able to make any sense of this. This basically means what you see is not what you get. This is a terminology used by the developers, graphic user interface developers. So if information is generated for one target audience, that may not make sense to other target audience. And this is one of the CABI's biggest learning, having into information